welcome back to Sami J Reads. I'm Sami, and this is a place in which I read a book, I review it, and hopefully I save you from reading a terrible book. This past week I decided to read Edgar Rice Burroughs' novel, A Princess of Mars, which is the first installment of the John Carter of Mars trilogy. If John Carter sounds familiar to any of you guys, that is because Disney is making a John Carter film coming out this March. And so when I first saw the trailer, I thought, this looks like a complete ripoff of Avatar and Star Wars, pretty much. And then I found out it's actually based on a book, which was written back in the 1900s, and I was more intrigued, so I decided why not check out John Carter of Mars. A Princess of Mars follows our main character, John Carter, as he has some crazy and wild adventures on the planet of Mars. I'm not really sure how he gets there, it's not explained at all, it's very mysterious. However, upon his arrival, he ends up befriending the green Martians, as well as the red people, which the red people are pretty much people who look like us but have red-toned skin. And through his friendships, he is able to bring about a somewhat world peace among Mars, as well as fall in love with the princess and get her to be his, which is quite intriguing, I must say. One of the things that work well for this novel, John Carter is pretty much a very observant scientist in how he explains what Mars looks like, feels like, and smells like, and hears like. He is able to describe the Martians to the extent that you could probably build a replica of one of these Martians on your own. What I really loved about this was the fact that it was a scientific point of view on how John Carter saw everything and explained it for a science fiction fantasy novel. That's probably one of the things that I've really enjoyed with this. I don't really read science fiction often, and this one actually makes me want to read more science fiction. Another thing that worked well with this novel was the fact that Edgar Rice Burroughs makes John Carter a reflective man, which makes him come off as more human than anything I've really seen with characters in past novels. John Carter is one of those individuals that as he's writing, he says pretty much straight out honestly, I behaved in this manner, but I really should have done it in this other manner if I had known what was going on. And that is natural human instinct for just us in general. We will finish off our own days, look back on our day and think, I could have performed this task better if I had done this instead. Or I could have merited this response from one of my friends if I had gone about it in this other manner. I actually enjoyed him for that. And then he pissed me off, but I'll get to that later. And finally, one of the other things that works really well for this novel, and I myself really enjoyed, was the historic reference to the Martian Canals. If you do know about the Martian Canals, you will probably nerd out for a while because it's taking that reference, and I was like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Yeah, if anyone screen caps, that will be really ridiculous. Back during the early 1900s, we didn't have an idea of what could be on Mars. We've had pictures and there were theories. And if you're not aware of the Martian Canals, here's a picture, okay, Martian Canals. And the theory was the fact that you had water that could transport between either some kind of foundation or structure or cities, something through basically the lines that are intersecting into little center points. And in this novel, it takes those theories and basically you have a river that is water and it goes into a city. And that's the intersection point. And I myself, I nerded out. So if you don't know about the Martian Canals, I highly recommend you guys look it up, especially if you're going to read John Carter, because it is pretty cool with the fact that it's referencing it from the time it was written with the time that it was a theory. Now, the things that don't work for this novel, you might remember that John Carter really pissed me off. And that is due to the fact that he is one of those superhuman godlike characters who just succeeds at everything. Even when he like has a little hiccup or struggles with like one little thing, he still succeeds at everything. He just so happens to like have this random encounter which later lets him like save everyone. First third of the novel, cool. I was totally fine with it. I was like, you know, no big deal. He's gonna fail eventually sometime. No, he never does. Which made me go, yeah. His only saving savior was the fact that he did have that reflective part that I enjoyed, which I mentioned earlier. The rest of John Carter himself as the character, I could care less about. I wanted him to fail at everything else he did for the last 2/3 of this novel. Another problem this novel has is the fact that the Martians and the red people are very backwards in some of their thinking. John Carter ends up explaining the differences in thought processes between these two societies, which was very helpful, but then when it came to reacting towards him and anything that involved him, they just got backwards. They didn't really behave in a manner that I could believe. And the final problem that this novel has is, now, don't kill me when I say this, especially if you love this novel. Do not kill me. This novel is like the early version of the sci-fi genre Twilight. We have John Carter, who is like our Bella, and then we have our princess, who is like our Edward. John Carter is like, ooh, princess, I want to marry her. She is very pretty. And the princess is like, ooh, John Carter, you are very intriguing. I really like you, but you are not showing me affection in ways that my culture shows it. The entire rest of the time in which John Carter is going around Mars and exploring Mars and having these crazy adventures is so then he can get to the princess and marry her and pretty much make her his own. Which, okay, cool. It is better than Twilight. There are no sparkling Martians, so that is a plus. That is a very good plus. But the problem that I have is that if I want to read a novel that has a very heavy romance plotline, I'll pick out that novel. When I want to read a novel that involves science fiction, I don't want to see that much romance in it. It is too much romance. So is John Carter really worth the buy? I'm going to say no. I would more recommend it that you borrow it from a friend or from the library. So if you have read A Princess of Mars from the John Carter trilogy by Edgar Rice Burroughs, comment down below and let me know what you thought about it. Did you actually care for that plotline with the romance? You already know my opinion. I want to know if that was something that everyone else enjoyed, or if it was just the aspect that it was on Mars and it was completely different societies and cultures that was more intriguing. If you have any books that you want me to read, review, and do the whole shebang, go ahead, comment down below, go to my Goodreads profile, comment me, basically just get a hold of me in any way, let me know, and I'll add it to the list. If you want to see more book reviews, go ahead, hit subscribe right up above, and I will see you guys every Thursday in your inbox. Pretty simple. That's it on SamiJReads, and I'll see you guys on the other side of the book next week. Bye. Alright. End of book review thing that I like to talk to you guys about when I'm not in a high-pitched voice. Anything happening? I am currently reading a book that is written by my boyfriend's friend, and I will let you guys know how that one is. Probably something that you have not heard of unless you found it on a bookshelf. But doing that, and classes are going good. I get to graph cosines and sines for the rest of the night. And that'll be exciting. Yay! Sines and cosines! I get to graph you! Yeah, I'm in pre-calc. I'm also in college algebra because I decided to retake the class for a better grade. And so far it's been pretty funny because I am doing everything fine in that class. And I sit there while taking notes while working on my pre-calc homework. Which, you know, awesome way of multitasking is doing your other math homework in your other math class while taking notes. And so, yeah. Gosh, I need a life. Why? Why, you guys? I need a life. Something like that. Yeah. I think that's about it. So yeah, that's basically been my week. So I will see you guys next week, and whatever book you're reading, keep enjoying it. Hopefully you finish it sometime soon, unless you're enjoying it too much and you don't want it to end. And yeah, I will see you guys next week. Bye.